Hello, everybody. My name is Richard Preston. I used to be a hopeless dope fiend, but now I am a dopeless hope fiend. I had my first drink at the age of 6. And what I'd like to share with you today is it was an instant love affair. I loved everything about that drink that I had at the age of 6. I loved the euphoric feeling that it gave me. I love that, it had me acting kind of goofy, that it made me laugh. I loved everything about it. What I didn't understand at that time is I came full circle as an alcoholic on that particular day. I was very sneaky in getting that drink. I blacked out after having that drink. And then the next morning, after I was discovered asleep in the bathtub, I felt so bad, I promised God that if He made me feel better, I would never drink again. 36 years later, I was still drinking and doing drugs. I went through school and I masked my alcohol use very well. And I progressively started messing with other drugs. So I went to marijuana and cocaine and eventually crack cocaine. Now I was able to master that because I did very well in school. I scored a 1460 on my SAT test, and I earned a scholarship to Jacksonville University in the mathematics department. My goal was to work at NASA and be an aerospace engineer. But little did I know what my drug use was going to take me to. I also was voted most likely to succeed. My disease had gotten progressively worse. And after getting the scholarship to Jacksonville University, I had graduated to cocaine, and I flunked out of school in the first 2 semesters. Now, I did also what any alcoholic or addict would do. I started manipulating people. So I went to work for State Farm Insurance in 1984, and I drank my way out of that job in about 6 years. I eventually moved on to a company called Unison Industries. They are an aerospace engineering company here in town, here in Jacksonville, Florida. It was pretty much my dream job, and I worked in the engineering department there. But little did I know what was going to happen. I've written a couple of books on addiction, and in the 7th chapter of my first book, the chapter is called From the Frying Pan to the Fire. And that's when I started messing with crack cocaine. Crack cocaine took me to places that I never thought it would take me. I got what every other crackhead got. I was homeless. My family abandoned me. My daughter didn't want to see me. I was in and out of jobs. And eventually I was left sleeping in abandoned buildings. I also got entwined with the criminal justice system. I found out that I had been arrested 27 times. And all of my charges were indirectly related to my drug use. Well, it wasn't until January 31st, 2006 that something came to fruition. Mind you, folks, I always knew that I didn't want to smoke crack cocaine. You wake up one day and you're a crackhead. And I didn't know how I got there, but alcohol was a different story. Like I said earlier, I loved everything about alcohol. So every time that I would go to a rehab facility, I just thought crack cocaine was my problem. But every time I picked up a drink, crack cocaine was sure to follow. So on January 31st, 2006, I was arrested at my mom's house, and it was the first time ever that she told the police, just take him away. I don't know him anymore. We weren't raised like that. He's a smarter man than what he's showing you he is, and just take him away. That was a turning point in my life. So the next day at the court proceedings, my brother was there. and my brother was trying to get the judge to lock me up and throw away the key. But something was different this time, and I begged the judge to give me an opportunity to check myself into long-term treatment. He did. And I checked in to the Adult Rehabilitation Center of the Salvation Army. Mind you, I had been on the rehab roller coaster, and I probably had been in and out of rehabs 13, 14 times. The big difference this time is I was doing it for myself. I wasn't doing it to save a job. I wasn't doing it to be able to see my daughter. I wasn't doing it for my mom and my dad. So once I got into treatment, I thought I'd change everything. So I wrote the judge a letter, and I thanked him for giving me the opportunity. And this is where it gets good, folks. He actually wrote me back. And the judge and I became pen pals while I was in this 9-month program. Things were going so well in this 9-month program, I didn't want to mess it up, so I stayed extra. I ended up staying there for a year and about 3 months because I wanted to take all suggestions this time and not do it Richard's way. My sponsor had told me, after you go through treatment, why don't you pursue sober living? So I looked up sober living, and I found out that it gives you a 30 to 60% better chance of success at long-term recovery. So I did that as well. Sober living changed my life around. It let me take my tools that I had learned in treatment and use them in a controlled environment. In 2003, I was Marchman acted to River Region here in Jacksonville. I now sit on the board of directors for River Region. I've written 2 books on addiction. My first book is entitled Serenity Granted: Accepting Hardship as a Pathway to Peace. And my second book is entitled The Absence of Serenity: The Unseen Struggles with Addiction. I co-chair the Northeast Florida Opioid and Heroin Task Force, and I own 2 sober living residences. And the reason I own that, it's a passion. I've given back to others what was so freely given to me. Thank you.